Good evening, welcome to Phil Shed on the X-Delta Folk Club, in fact. Apologies for not entering into the live gig, or almost live gig. Am I live? Yes, I believe I still am. So apologies anyway for not entering into the sort of gigging thing prior to this. I've had enough to do, and I'm continuing to have enough to do. So I won't be making as many of these things as a lot of other people are going to. But here it is. These are some of the songs that you would have heard if I'd been able to do the bulk of my solo tour. That's all I can say, really. And yeah. The day that Eddie Cochran died, I put the news through every door. And what I knew of life and death, I wasn't really sure. But as I cycled round the town, I heard rock and roll in every sound. Could have been a teenage idol, but I had my paper round, never let it get me down. All the dreams that I never found after the paper round. I know that I daydreamed a lot, an invisible hand I held. The dreams of winning Wimbledon and dating Tuesday Weld. Take Anne Baker to the movies will only cost me half a crown. Could have been Kirk Douglas, but I had my paper round, never let it get me down. All the dreams that I never found after the paper round. Hope you're all singing out there. And nothing I see convinces me that the world's not falling apart. And I could tell you stories that would surely break your heart. They never taught me how to tell lies. They never said I'd have to compromise just to get on without, without my paper round, never let it get me down. All the dreams that I never found after the paper round. I'm too old to be a paper boy, I'm too young to be a lollipop man. But I've got my shoulder to the wheel, I'm doing what I can. As the dreams hit heavy weather and they slowly ran aground. If you never got the grace, if you never got the grace, if you never got the grace, you could blame that paper round, never let it get me down. All the dreams that I never found after the paper round, never let it get me down. All the dreams that I never found after the paper round. Sing, paper round, never let it get me down. All the dreams that we never found after the paper round. Good, I hope you're all singing there. That wonderful sort of touch of satire there was written, touch of irony was written by my old mates Dave Bell and Dick Cadbury from Decameron. They were amongst the people who persuaded me to move from Brighton to Cheltenham. They'd all been to college there and formed Decameron, and then they all stayed there because it made geographical sense for touring and travelling, whereas Paul Downs and I were living in Brighton in the mid-70s, which of course is a lovely town, I love it to bits, but absolutely pathetically useless when half the gigs you're doing are sort of, Oxfordshire and then heading north. So yeah, we moved to Cheltenham, and I'd already met Johnny Coppin anyway years before that on Brenda Wotton's floor. Brenda Wotton's floor was always a great place for meeting people, and yeah, so that's where I met JC all those years ago. It's not red wine tonight. This is my last bottle, Robbie, obviously, and I am saving it because I believe I will deserve it by the time I've done this gig. So right at the end of the gig, La Sagra, fantastic Spanish beer, courtesy of Robbie. That's Robbie of Track Dogs, by the way, sorry. So, living in Cheltenham, I got to know a songwriter who I knew by reputation, terrific player and singer, still is, a man called Steve Ashley. And in fact, I roadied him for a while. I drove him around for a period of time. He took his life in his... he put his life in my hands, I should say. This has always been one of my favourite of his songs, Feeling Lazy. Brown and all around, September's gaining ground. I can't believe that another year come along and just disappeared. Honey, put the kettle on, we'll have a cup of tea. Better put a sweater on. Any letters there for me? Feeling lazy and I can't get out of this bed. I don't wanna know, I get up and go is a rolling in my head. I'm not gonna work today, I'm staying here instead. Feeling lazy and I'm busy here in bed. I could use a glass of booze, bring the whiskey bottle over here. And that's the point, we could cook a joint or have a little of the homemade beer. Honey, if you need a hand, all you've gotta do is call. But then again I'll understand if you wanna do it all. Feeling lazy and I can't get out of this bed. I don't wanna know, I get up and go is a rolling in my head. I'm not gonna work today, I'm staying here instead. Feeling lazy and I'm busy here in bed. I'm gonna write that novel and that opera as well. I'm going to write a few letters to the Times. I'm gonna paint your picture and I'm gonna put up those shelves, but somehow I just cannot find the time. Do it all tomorrow, just you wait and see. If only I could borrow someone else's energy. Feeling lazy and I can't get out of this bed. I don't wanna know, I get up and go, it's a rolling in my head. I'm not gonna work today, I'm staying here instead. Feeling lazy and I can't get out of this bed. I don't wanna know, I get up and go, well you just got up and fled. I'm not gonna work today, I'm staying here instead. Feeling lazy, I'm busy here in bed. September's gaining ground. Steve Ashley. Okay, well, here's a song by that Nightly bloke. I particularly like this one. Just imagine what it must have been like if you're, you're a Roman soldier, and you just finally you've vanquished the Germanic tribes finally under the leadership of old Russellus Croas, and you're back there, sort of in your beautiful little vineyard in southern Italy. Your 5 acres. And it's all been pretty quiet on the Eastern Front for quite some time. And then 8 o'clock one sunny morning, just when you're thinking of having some breakfast wine, there's a knock on the door, and there's Sergeant at Arms. Good news, Lucius, you're going to Britain. Oh, no. Can you imagine what some poor sod must have thought? Oh my God, 2 years, guarding the frontier, all those blokes and women in dreadlocks painted blue, smelling to high heaven, and still they have I suppose they can be forgiven because they were winning the rugby. And this is one of my favourite Nightly songs. Ancient hills, see something under here. Reach out and let your fingers touch a blade as hard as steel. I was the man who left it there. I tried to build my home, watching over a cold frontier, 1,000 miles from home. And our worlds collide after all these years on a cold frontier. Cold frontier. Well, I cleared the woods, I drained the land. Oh, houses built to last. The wall of my cities and all of my roads, they are contours beneath the grass. All of the men who we couldn't tame, we drove them to the west. Songs and their stories, they still remain. What became of all I left? Just stones and the clay that the plough reveals on a cold frontier. Cold frontier. Well, a silver coin I'll leave for you. You may spin it in the air. On any country that chooses to land, this coin will pay your fare. It's in the faces and it's in the blood of all who work this land. You'll find traces of all we've been. They lie so close at hand. Now the border's down after all years on a cold frontier. Cold frontier, cold, oh so cold. Raining again. Cold Frontier by Steve Knightley. What was the joke? I think it was Simon Kerr told me might have come from his son Stefan. I can't actually remember, I can't verify that. It's something like, how many ears does Steve Knightley have? And the answer is left ear, right ear and a cold frontier. Da-da! Sorry. Right, that's enough. The sturdy black guitar. I never intended to have a guitar like this. It's not even really my type of guitar. It's sort of standard, very standard Martin pattern. You know, the neck's actually slightly too small for me. And I was looking for a guitar for somebody else. I went over to David's and I said, what you got, David? Because he always used to make 4 instruments at a time, so there always be something in the attic, basically, a little bit of something in the attic. And so he came down with a bunch of guitars, and there was this black guitar, and he said something along the lines of, I was just experimenting with a really ugly wood which I didn't like the look of. It sounds fine, he said, and then he said, well, I used to spray my car, so I thought I'd spray the guitar. So he used it as an experiment for lacquering, and then admitted later that he got it wrong. You see, there's bloody great cracks in the lacquer, and so it's not in the wood, it's in the lacquer, because that's the most stressed point of a fixed bridge instrument, and so on. He offered on numerous occasions after that, after I decided that this was going to be the working guitar over and above all of the others that I've got. And he offered to fix this, and I said no. I quite like the fact that guitars look like they're being used. Some people are terribly precious. There's a couple of guitars. In fact, I'm going to play one in a minute that I will probably never show in public much, and will attempt to keep dent free. But other than that, these are tools. They're tools of the trade. That's what they are. Blimey. Fiddle, yeah, right, what happens? Something like that, anyway. Okay, fiddles are all screechy things, nobody really likes them, but I'm obligated to do something with one. So it was inevitable that I would play the fiddle, because my dad was a good player. He played in local dance bands, literally just around the corner from here. Who was then our next door neighbour was Arthur Chalice, and he was a local electrician, and he led a dance band called Arthur Chalice and his Black Diamonds, and his daughter Anne went on to join the Ivy Benson band, the all-women dance band, sort of Miller-esque style orchestra, all women players, all absolutely brilliant, and she was a phenomenal multi-instrumentalist, and she played the double bass, she played all the saxophone, she played guitar, she played piano, she played the Hammond organ. She was pretty damn good, and when Ivy got a bit too old to be on the road, she continued to run the band and manage it from home, and Anne was in fact her on the road band leader. So there you go. So I kind of learned to play the fiddle a bit, and then it was much too difficult, and the guitar was much more glamorous, so I carried on with the guitar and didn't really pick up the fiddle for a while. But then I did start picking it up after I learned about a man called Dave Swarbrick, and then finally I heard an album by Fairport Convention, which was Full House, of course. Most people got into Fairport, apart from the aficionados, of course, from the previous album, Liege and Leaf, but I didn't really pick up on them until it was this. Those strident tones of Sir Patrick Spens, And then I suddenly thought to myself, oh, blimey, right, okay. So I re-examined the fiddle and finally got into it. Lost my eyes in a blacksmith shop in the year of 46, working on a revolver and it was out of break. I am so sad and lonely and I'm condemned to roam, 'cause I am a blind fiddler and I'm a great long way from home. I've been downtown Knoxville to talk to Dr. Lane, operated on one of my eyes but nothing could he gain. I am so sad and lonely and I'm condemned to roam, 'cause I am a blind fiddler and I'm a great long way from home. I've got a wife and 3 little kids, they depend on me, sharing all my sorrows wherever they may be. And I hope that they'll be careful as through this life they roam, 'cause I am a blind fiddler and I cannot help them. Lost my eyes in a blacksmith shop in the year of 46, working on a revolver and it was out of fix. I am so sad and lonely, and I'm condemned to roam, 'cause I am a blind fiddler, and I'm a great long way from home. Yeah, a couple of tunes of mine. Actually, no, they're not a couple of tunes of mine at all. In actual practice, the first one learnt from the excellent Mr. Paul Burgess. Paul Burgess is a great fiddle player with just about the biggest repertoire of tunes, and we have talked for years about actually doing something together. And then when I saw him last at Cheltenham Town Hall, we actually discussed the idea that this year finally we might get together and record a very nice trad fiddle album. He's the writer of lots and lots of tunes that have simply slipped into the tradition, and there's nothing nicer for someone who, apart from not getting any royalties, nothing nicer than somebody writing a tune and then finding out that it's it's appearing everywhere as trad. That's one of his general. So yes, the first tune I learnt from him, that's called The Marriage Vow or The Wedding Vow. Second tune is mine, Jenny's Waltz, from all of those years ago in Bridport, in fact. And then the third tune is Gwinnett, one of my tunes. Whenever I write a tune, which is not very often, I usually give it some sort of Cornish reference. In fact, no particular reason, just my mum really, and so on. Plus the fact that I've got a Cornish breath mask, but maybe I'll show you that later. Anyway, the song, of course, learned from Hoyt Axton. Hoyt Axton album with John Hartford playing the fiddle. John Hartford was a person that really swung things around for me, fiddle playing. After I got so far into Swarbrick, then I heard John Hartford stuff, and that kind of changed everything. So there you go, Beguiled by the late great John Hartford. Folks, the last guitar that David built for me, he wasn't he didn't finish it, he couldn't finish it. He built, I think there were 4 of them on the go, so they were given to our very good mate Chris Billings to finish off, and also those lovely chaps from Brook Guitars, and also a very fine set of luthiers in Devon, near Crediton. Yeah. Anyway, this one had my name on it, so it was actually finished about 9 months after David's death, and so this is the last David guitar for me, and it's just the most beautiful thing. Maybe I'll post some close-up photographs of its detail a bit later on, but it seems fitting to do a lovely old English traditional song learnt from another hero of ours, a man called Tony Rose, great interpreter of the tradition, and he kind of made this song his own really, so I don't think any of us can ever hope to equal the beauty with which, the manner in which he played it. Was on one April's morning, just as the sun was rising. It was on an April's morning, I heard the small birds sing. They were singing, lovely Nancy, for love it is our fancy, and sweet were the notes that I heard the small birds sing. They were singing lovely Nancy, oh love it is our fancy, and sweet were the notes that I heard the small birds sing. Young men, they are false and are full of all deceiving. Young men, they are false and they seldom will prove true, for they're roving and they're ranging, their hearts are always changing, seeking to find out some other girl that's new. Young men, don't you spend all your long, long time in courting. Young men, don't you spend all your long, long time in vain, for I don't intend to marry, I would far rather tarry. Young man, don't you spend all your long, long time in vain. Oh, if I hadn't got my own heart in keeping, oh, if I hadn't got my own heart back again, straight to this breast a tether, and I'll lock it there forever, and I pray that it would never stray far from me again. It was on one April's morning, just as the sun was rising. It was on one April's morning, I heard the small birds sing. They were singing lovely Nancy, oh love it is our fancy, and sweet were the notes that I heard the small birds sing. They were singing lovely Nancy, oh love it was our fancy, and sweet were the notes that I heard the small birds sing. Whoa, lovely. Yeah, so there you go. Right, change guitars. But they're the same, you all cry. Actually, they're not. This monster was my design features went into this one. It's nominally a Martin style cutaway. It's much more raucous, nowhere near as refined as the last Oddie, but nevertheless, no, I do like this guitar for certain things. What I accidentally discovered was that it really likes being in open G, so it's permanently set in open G. So at a time that we were going to York quite a lot and seeing quite a bit of Nick Jones when he was still living there before he moved to the West Country, and I was round there one day and he actually gave me his original notes to his sort of version of this great old broadside ballad. So again, this is your chance to sing along at home, folks. Sing loud enough so that at least I can imagine. Oh, the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. They made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. Now when Bonaparte from Poland into Moscow he went, with all his troops, all his men, their minds were fully bent. Gotta take the Russian country, they were full employed. While the Russians fought against them, they soon did them destroy. All the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. They made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. Now when from Moscow city, oh, the Russians did retreat, neither Bonaparte nor all his men not anything could get. When from Moscow city, the Russians took their flight, they set the town on fire, they burnt it down that night. All the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. They made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. Now into Moscow city, oh, the Russians did attack against Bonaparte and all his men. They killed them, took them, drove them back. But the action being so up from right and left and front and rear, oh, damn, this is all Bonaparte, I'll stay no longer here. Oh, the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. They made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. Then away then went bold Bonaparte as fast as he could ride. Poor Frenchmen looked after him, saying, oh, it's very hard, but I think you'll lead us all up here and leave us to our fate. Oh, we want to stop along with us and help us in our state. Oh, the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. Made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. Now here's 80,000 men from me they've killed and they've taken, besides 10,000 horses, fine 200 bits of cannon, and never bought in Paris or French Flanders I'll advance. For if I do, I may be sure they'll teach me how to dance. All the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. Made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. And it's to concluding thus to try and finish off my song. Old Barney's made the Russians swear they wish they'd all have been, and the cruelest death they put him to, third of another man before. Cassius is old Bonaparte, I'm clear of you all. All the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. Made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. All the warlike lads of Russia, they fought all in one mind. They made Bonaparte to run and leave his troops behind. This was the first one that David built for us, and I would have to submit that an awful lot of the re-interest in the tenor guitar has been very much stimulated by young Seth Lakeman in recent years, so if you've got the money, Nick Oddie, carrying on David's tradition, is making beautiful tenor guitars down in the new workshop at the moment, and they're very reasonably priced. But also I'm looking forward to getting a demonstrator model of the Paul Brett version for Vintage Guitar Company, and probably get my hands on that in the next month or so and see what that's like. That'll be an altogether cheaper but very, very good instrument there. Turning out some great instruments in a subsequent film. I'm going to be using the Vieta guitars quite a lot. Anyway, this is the end of the first half, so we can have an interval chat if you like on Facebook. I lived for my sins for a while before I moved back into civilization. I was out there on Dartmoor and the Hennock Ridge at a beautiful farm, and this is a song that Steve wrote, but it's based upon some of the people that I got to know there. And so again, please, I know it's sort of very antiseptic in a sense, although I'm actually having quite good fun doing this. But please sing along, and just imagine all those other people lustily singing along. Transported. See you after the break. I'm 25 is enough for my needs, but it's other men's cattle I'll water and feed. One day I'll pay for the life that I lead. I'm a thief from the edge of the moor. My uncle and me got it down to an art. We set off for stealing not long after dark, through the fields and the farms where it's easy to park, and the way back home is secure. One cold winter's night after Tavistock Fair, stolen sheep in the trailer and rain in the air. I felt the flat tire and I reached for the spare, like the side of the A38. But the nuts on the wheel must have rusted in place, and I'm under the landy with spray in my face, with only an hour to get out of that place, cursing our bad luck and fate. But there's no transportation down under, no goes in the old county jail. At best in the morning we're fine with the warning, the worst in the evening we're back out on bail. In the distance we saw a blue flashing light, 2 feet and a loud voice came out of the night, asking if everything here was alright, and would we be soon on our way. Well, John said that he'd go and get help on the phone, and in the distance I'm hearing his soft urgent tones. But that copper, he wouldn't leave it alone, his light on my back number plate. But instead of the AA, John dialed 999. He said, help, we're caught at the scene of the crime, a gas station, a robbery, a mile down the line. Come quickly, we're trapped in the gents. Well, I heard the police radio burst into life. He took the call, slammed the door and sped into the night. We worked the wheel loose and we clamped it on tight. Through the first gate all those sheep went, but there's no transportation down under, no goes in the old county jail. At best in the morning we're fine with the warning, the worst in the evening we're back out on bail. So come you West Country villains, if you set out to steal, keep your phones charged, always check your spare wheel, and if you get caught, use your wits, not your heels. Remember my uncle and me, for somewhere there's a copper who's just hopping mad, and some farmer is counting more sheep than he had. And we're in the middle of the moor at the Warren House Inn, with our pints really glad we weren't born in 1803. But there's no transportation down under, no goes in the old county jail. At best in the morning we're fine with a warning, the worst in the evening we're back out on bail. There's no transportation down under, sing, no gallows in the old county jail. At best in the morning we're fine with a warning, the worst in the evening we're back out on bail. At worst in the evening we're back out on bail. At worst in the evening we're back out on bail. See you after the break.